Right, good.
All right, welcome in, Basement Dwellers. Today we're going to be talking about the U.S. government selling Bitcoin, Arbitrum giving away free money and fake governance, as well as who has the most gold. All this and more on today's Blockchain Basement. Bum, 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 bum. You ready for this? I'm ready. Welcome.
If you're gonna screw me, at least pull my hair.
Hell yeah. What you got?
They could start chopping off fingers. They're like, give me your seed phrase, but I don't know it.
Out to give the numbers out. And I was like, no, hang up the phone right now.
Or like when it dropped in 2020, was it like exciting?
400,000 to 600,000. The generational signals are now.
Level. So I don't even know if we're gonna get back below there, but if we do, that's kind of where we
Welcome to Blockchain Basement. We're going to have a really good show for you guys today. Welcome into all of you guys. We've got the Druth is on fire. The beautiful Ali Lee. Biscuit Jesus not on the board, but he's got some buttons in his lap that he can be pushing.
Don't worry.
We got, of course, all of you guys. Crypto Stevo, welcome back for your vacation. You were missed. Rand San Miguel, Anthony Ackley, Gary's Guzzler. Holochain Frazier, Danny Carney, Sack Nasty 86, Mike Vollmer, Chemistry Bro. We've got Dave Digital, Razmataz, Agent Brown Sugar, Casino Doggy, Corey Harden, Manawak, Dave Digital, Crypto, Mac Daddy, Aztec World, and Crypto Tony with our daily GitHub development update. We've got new one coming in at number one, SSV Network. You guys have probably heard of that one a little bit, but first time it's been number one, at least on my radar, for development on GitHub. We got Cosmos coming in number 2. Like to see that. Aptos number 3. Kira Network number 4. Polkadot Kusama number 5. Cardano. What does that say? Luxo, Solana, Ethereum, and Zeus coming in, rounding out the top 10 there. Sounds sus. Yeah. So, all right, going to be talking a little bit. You guys, I guess, covered Friday. U.S. government dumping a lot of their Bitcoin. I think they've got 41,000. That didn't work. 41,500 Bitcoin. Is that blurry to you guys, or is that just me?
I think it's you. I'll check it.
My eyes.
I'm mainly staring at somebody's taint.
Yeah,
and it's not Kirby's.
Yeah, just close your legs, Drew. Close your legs.
Oh, fine.
Man, there you go. That's better.
Yeah, you don't need to like man spread.
Yeah.
Just be like,
I was told not to, so then I do it.
Can we just fix the angle of the
Yeah.
camera?
All right. Here we go. 5 things. 5 things. Yeah. Okay. You're gonna fix some stuff. Oh, yeah. I won't talk then while you're. Well, what I was gonna. Okay, here we go. BTC priced forming a double top. 5 things to keep an eye on this week. We'll go through this, and then we've got some discussion topics to get into. This is pretty interesting. Oil production cuts. That was the other big thing that happened over the weekend. So thanks to oil production cuts and major historical resistance, among other factors, Bitcoin bulls have their work cut out for them to break higher. I did say I think 28 is going to be a very tough resistance to break through. Bitcoin starts a new week with volatile territory with the news of an oil supply cut delivering choppy start. Oil cuts boost the dollar as inflation concerns return. OPEC Plus has announced voluntary cuts in production totaling 1.65 million barrels per day, and the impact was felt immediately with the US dollar rising alongside energy costs. So this was an interesting thing we were talking about. This gave strength to the dollar. It also leans more hawkish towards banks because you're still going to be feeling the inflation. So they were saying this is another reason banks could potentially raise rates again and continue raising rates. So that was an interesting theory that came out of the BitBoy Crypto morning live stream. Is could this voluntary OPEC rate production, basically controlling the supply of oil to the downside, saying they're going to create less barrels of oil, could that potentially help give the Fed the ammunition it needs to continue raising rates on banks and continually adding strength to the dollar? I think it's become very clear at this point. We're seeing insane trade war going on, whether you're talking US dollar, Russian ruble, Chinese yuan. They're all posturing and trying to get as much demand on their currency as possible. As we're seeing, the currency wars truly have begun and have been, I think, raging on for quite some time now. So, this is just more about oil prices will likely rise back above $80, an unwelcome development by central banks attempting to fight inflation.
Wait, how low are they now?
Like $60 or
60 something like that.
The thing is, we try to put a cap on what they can sell their oil for. That's the hilarity.
Last time it was ripping, it was what, at 110?
Yeah, it was over 100.
It was like 130 at a point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but so what they've done now. Look at you with your shades. Look at you.
Everybody else.
Oh God, here I gotta be on.
All you guys have cool shades except for me. That's not fair.
Yeah,
totally.
You gotta
Yeah, it's
zoom
definitely
in.
blurry.
Zoomy.
Or
There it
I'm
is.
going blind. Yeah.
There it is.
Sleepy eyes.
Yeah.
Chicken salad. You guys are talking about pizza.
Oh.
Oh, what do we got? What do we got? Oh, look at this. Cherry
Oh.
Potter glasses.
I like it.
All right, I'm going to do this show with. Wow.
I love it.
I don't know how I feel about this.
That's a good. I trust you more.
You trust me more? That's not. I look like I'm a more savvy individual. I do some research. According to the latest developments,
Basically, the on-chain data shows that.
that's how you talk all the time, BJ. What are you talking
I
about?
know.
You got to use bigger, sciencier words.
Like pre-flow beefing.
There you go.
Onomatopoeia.
Okay, according to the. Now I can't read through these glasses, guys.
Yeah.
They're all blurry. According to the latest estimates from the CME Group, Fed Watch Tool marks currently believe that the Federal Reserve will hike rates another 0.25 in May. So the next meeting coming out in May, so they are leaning towards another rate hike, which would be very interesting. Obviously, everybody's screaming for the Fed to pivot. I would another rate hike. I'm here for it. Let's make it happen. So
Yeah. We should do 100 base points and just light this.
Manawak
candle.
says I'm being a naughty librarian. Oh, what? Careful, Manawak. All right. Let's see. Bitcoin price rebounds, blah, 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 blah. All right, here we go. Looking ahead, however, crypto analysis, the education resources income sharks maintained a bearish outlook on BTC. Yeah, I mean, Frank came back. A lot of people, is this talking about 25? Yeah, coming back down. This is very similar to the Frank's levels that he put on this morning's live stream. So if you're coming over here,
It's an inverse butt cheek pattern.
I mean, we're coming in right, or it looks like in this 25,000 range. Maybe this chart has it going a little bit below, but
There we go.
yeah,
Come back home to daddy.
yeah, exactly.
These prices are too high. I've been saying it for a while.
Too damn high.
They're too high. We need cheaper altcoins.
Yeah, isn't this a bear market?
Yeah,
I mean, come
This
on.
is unreasonable.
Yeah, this is another form, another kind of way to draw the same pattern. BTC would need to soon drop to 27,000, which is this blue mark, if it is to fully develop the pattern, form an M-like shape, lose 27, double top validated, something to consider. Again, so if we hold this here at 27, that's somewhat bullish. If we dip even lower, again, I'm not really worried about anything between 20 and 28. Man, it just looks so weird seeing
Yeah,
it.
I want to see the volume profiles between like below 27 and all that. But again, I still think if based off of DCA and everything else, everything is irrelevant. Like definitely this is the time to be doing it. But I still think we're going to have a weird mid-May,
Black Swan.
Yeah, maybe the 7th of May.
The 7th.
The
perhaps?
7th of May.
remember the 7th
But it's
of
just
May.
there's so much set up for it to come back down. But again, if you believe in Bitcoin long term and decentralization, like, do you really care? I know we're a broken record, but it's relevant.
I think that's a great point. It's something that came up. Somebody was texting me over the weekend. Another group that I'm in, a lot of business owners and CEOs talking about where to put his money, and he was basically I've been talking to him about Bitcoin for a while. He finally texted me and said, "Hey, I bought some Bitcoin this weekend. All this stuff with the banks has me freaked out. Don't really know what to do." And ironically, he was. I can't. It's tough, man. These are weird looking glasses.
Should we trade for a second? Here.
Yeah, are you gonna make me look cooler? Yeah.
I don't know if I'm gonna make you look cool.
Yeah, these will make me.
I'm gonna look more ridiculous.
Ben stole my glasses
Now I
after
look
batting
cool.
practice last week, and
Did
he was
he?
wearing $6 sunglasses.
Problem is
for a
now I
certain
really
amount
Why
of
did
time.
those
now I
suit
really
you so
can't
well?
read this
Why
shit.
does it look
not
normal
suit
on
me.
you,
Yeah,
PJ?
PJ, those are BJ's glasses from middle school, guys. Yeah.
This is perfect.
No, but he was talking about buying Bitcoin, and because he's purchased Bitcoin now, yeah, I think I'm just gonna have to go no glasses. I can't take myself serious. Look, people won't trust me
I
if
like them.
they have to see my eyes. They can't.
Indubitably.
This
won't
is how
trust
I
me if they
become
can't see
more
my eyes.
trustworthy. Here.
But he was saying when he went down the path of buying Bitcoin, it started taking him down the path of self-sovereignty in general. Like if banks crash and you're having a hard time, if nobody can get their money in and out of banks, you're immediately like, okay, well, what about water? What about power? What about food? So he was saying like, it's basically all consuming a lot of his thoughts right now. Like if this was to really happen, like, sure, my business bank's here, but outside of the top 4 or 5 banks, where am I going to put my money? How am I going to live my life? What is it going to look like? These are things people are having to actually talk to themselves about now. So it's a good thing to see.
I mean, I know I've brought it up multiple shows. I can't remember if you were on when I asked.
I'll trade you back.
But how everybody, all the normies,
Yeah.
they're like FDIC will cover things, and I know I'm a broker record at this point. But do you know how much money is in the FDIC?
We looked.
Like
You told me on
100-something
Thursday. It was like
It's 128 billion.
Yeah.
So it's like these are discussions that we need to be having because it's like we're not insured. We're still out of fractional reserve banking of 0. We're dealing with all the brick stuff. Money's backed by nothing. We have an opportunity here potentially with Bitcoin and everything else. So it's like why is this not in the narrative? And yes, again, I know because of certain totalitarian dictatorships and overturning and basically controlling of power. But again, it's like we need to basically really push decentralization, and not only just money, because exactly what you just said, like you have chickens, you have farms, you know how to be self-sustaining, but it's just like the ability to do basically urban farms.
Yeah.
For example, micro hydro. There's certain ways of doing micro geothermal and other things like that. It's like, why aren't we doing this?
Yeah.
Like we can sit here and complain about this the whole time, but like, are you actively doing it? And it's like,
I'm trying to.
I know I'm just as guilty, but it's
Yeah.
like I feel like that's stuff we need to be
You
pushing
get
so much harder.
bloody blisters on your hands from doing the things. Something to come is capital controls. I just want to say that.
That was a weird place to pause, by the way.
You know, we're talking about the sovereignty and controlling your own stuff. Capital controls, I think, will be put in place once enough velocity is lost off the dollar, and we're going to see
Define capital controls.
So where you have a max amount of money that can be spent on risk assets, you know, different sort of controls within banking accounts. We've seen to a
Like
degree.
you have $10 million and you want to invest $2 million, they tell you no, you're only allowed to
Yep.
invest $1 million.
Exactly. And we're going to see that linchpin put around larger accounts and even smaller accounts, I think, as the dollar continues to lose velocity, because this isn't going to be some kind of peaceful transfer of dominance of the US dollar to the digital yuan. It's not going to be some kind of, oh, here you go, you can just, you know, all transfer over, not a problem and stuff. This system's been in place for quite some time, and there's a lot of military might backing it. So I don't see this as being like a calm, resolute movement by any means. And
Well, also on what level? Because again, some of the stuff we were talking about the other day is how much China owning so much of our debt,
yeah,
but also how many companies like BHC Capital and other companies like that are heavily invested over there. So it's like on the surface level, it may not seem like we'll say a pacifistic transfer of wealth, power, and control, but like I feel like it's going to be there.
It's going to take a long time, and that's the thing about it. So
It's like if we can see this as the peons that we are, like there's been set up for a while. Anyway.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, I agree with what you're both saying. It's going to take more time. That's kind of what I was telling the other guy when he was starting down this path. I'm like, I'm glad you're starting down this path. It's a great mindset to be in general. The more you can be self-sufficient across all things, the better. That being said, to BJ's point, it's not easy. It doesn't happen overnight. And I don't think we're going to see the dollar just there's a lot of people out there fear-mongering saying, you know, the dollar's losing its dominance, which it is, but it's not going to happen all of a sudden, in my opinion. We're not going to just wake up one day and be like, oh, boom, the dollar is no longer the most dominant currency, and now we're all in chaos and fighting, and there's no food, and you know, it goes totally insane. I think we will start to see inflation. We'll start to see this competition between these nations ramp up. But again, these other nations, the 2 through 10 nations that have their, you know, when it comes to their currency's dominance, they're not nobody right now. They still have a functioning currency. They still have a lot of world trade. They still have a lot of, you know, global imports and exports and all that sort of stuff. So there's a lot more to it than just the dollar. That is what gives us our edge up or our advantage.
Yeah.
But it's not going to, just because we lose that advantage doesn't mean we lose all power overnight.
Yeah.
You know.
Also, Shrimpy's scapegoat says that there's a huge volume gap from 26.8 down to 25.2.
There is,
from
yeah.
the earlier.
And again, I'm not getting too caught up between 26, 25, 22, 28. You know, again, anywhere in between 20 and 28.
We drop below what it costs to mine a Bitcoin. That's when I worry.
Right. and
Which
we're
I don't think we do.
that's not going to fit.
So that's not going to work. But yeah, we're going
We
to
have
look at some of that in a minute in the top 5 things to watch this week. Couple quick housekeeping things. They did say that BJ looked like a wizard when he was wearing these glasses, and one move when you change glasses, you went from looking like Harry Potter to Jared Leto in one fell swoop.
What?
Jared
also,
Leto
I'm
or
having-
John Lennon?
Jared
I saw
Leto.
Jen-
No,
I
those
saw-
glasses are Leto. These are Harry Potter.
Nice. Like,
But these do have very. John
I've done
Lennon
one
type.
autograph for Jared Leto when I was in Italy in 2015.
That's fun.
Yeah.
And yes, I'm
You
having
signed
chicken and
his
sweet potato.
autograph.
You did?
Somebody thought it was.
Hey, that's pretty awesome. Somebody's walking around.
They were very blind.
Yeah, that's great. You
I
don't
mean-
want to crush that person's dream.
No,
right? Just
no.
let them live in their happy little bliss.
I mean, I don't get to be as awesome as Ben when somebody thought he was Unky
Charles
Hosky.
Hosky.
That's what it was. Yeah, I was trying to think of who. Yeah.
How would you forget that? That's
No, I was trying to
legendary.
figure. Yeah, they thought he was Charles Hoskinson.
yeah,
They were
in
sure
the
of it.
airport, would not take no for an answer.
No.
So at the end of the day, we're like, all right, here's the picture. Yeah.
A question from the chat. Rogue Gang wants to know, TJ, what's in your mouth?
Wow.
what was in my mouth. I mean,
Yeah.
you're talking about my lunch. It's
What are you eating
chicken
today?
chicken and sweet potatoes. Mostly. There's
Show it.
there's
some
sweet
greens
potato
there,
or there,
but
yeah,
he
there's
never
spinach in
eats
here,
the
but I'm not,
greens.
or kale or something, but I
gross.
usually don't eat
F
it.
kale. Don't eat kale.
Yeah, I'm gonna eat the chicken. I'm gonna eat about 3 bites of the sweet potato, and
Also, don't eat raw kale. It is an endocrine destabilizer.
It's cooked, so
yeah,
we're safe.
but a lot of those cuniferous, you really got to cook them. But also, it's just gross.
eat the veggies. They say
Eat
Nice
spinach.
bowl. Kale
Spinach
is great.
delicious.
Spinach is
just-
good. And you can put it in your smoothies. What do you think about raw spinach?
It's delicious. I love it
Yeah,
personally.
I'll ball it up and put it in my
Not
mouth.
for me. Not for me. Oh, you'll ball up a lot of things. Put it in your mouth. That's
Right.
true. All right, let's come back to Bitcoin real quick. Another week, another Bitcoin mining record, and this is again what BJ alluded to. You know, when you're looking at price, something to keep an eye on. Watching what the miners are doing. These guys have the pulse. They are the pulse of Bitcoin in many different ways. So, dip or no dip, Bitcoin network fundamentals are in no mood to flip bearish next week. According to the latest estimates from BTC.com, Bitcoin difficulty is due to have yet another increase at the upcoming automated readjustment in 3 days. So again, when the difficulty adjustment goes to the upside, it makes the cost of Bitcoin go up, the cost of mining one Bitcoin go up, which obviously drives different buying and selling pressure. But data from on-chain analytics from firm Glassnode shows that miners have begun attempting to retain more BTC than they earn. So you can see in this green mark here, this
So that
is,
means they're also buying on top of.
they're trying to sell as little as possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're trying, you know, like,
There's
so
a
in all
wording
of these
there.
ranges, they're selling big. So generally speaking, you're going to see about a little, it's going to be close to a year. You know, you've got pretty much all of 2020 into 2021. They were selling big time, right? They were taking profits. They held a little bit here within that midsummer dip, sold a little bit more when it started going back up. But all of 2022, they were selling more than they were mining. Now you're starting to see right here, this blip. It's like the beginning of what will be the next, you know, bull market accumulation phase, because they're trying to accumulate and hold on through the next cycle. So this is a good sign here. Despite the BTC price comeback this year, this available supply dormant for a decade or more is also at all-time high. So this is now obviously this is going to tick over once you get to nobody was dormant for more than a decade until it existed a decade.
Yeah.
So obviously it's going to go, you know, parabolic right here, but you can still see a lot of the coins. And we're going to look at an article later showing that the supply is not moving nearly as much. So crypto market sentiment has not yet digested the possibility of a significant retracement. I don't know. I feel like it has. It seems to be leaning pretty bearish. I mean, here's the fear and greed index. We're still up pretty high on the greed, you know, when you're looking at it charted out over, you know, let's see if you can see.
We've high 70.
It's hard to say if we're like where we are in this. Oh, you can't see that in this
There it is.
black or this gray bulge over here. Who knows?
Yeah, we're right about 60 right now. It looks like just under.
So nuts. I just remember the teens not long ago.
Yeah, and so here was this one. Yeah, so this is an interesting thing to keep an eye on too. Bitcoin, and this is very interesting with what's going on with the other banks. You know, the liquidity, Bitcoin liquidity drops to 10-month low amid U.S. bank run. So this, I think, is a variety of factors going on here. We've got the bank run happening and people trying to pull money out of dollars and get them into Bitcoin.
Yeah.
We've also, the more we see bank runs, the more we see exchanges collapse, the more we're going to see people pulling their funds off of exchanges. So I think some of this is just a result of that. But Bitcoin market liquidity has dropped to a 10-month low despite a bullish quarter in terms of price gain. The liquidity dry up is partially attributed to the bank run in the United States and the ongoing regulatory actions against crypto companies. So you'll see, I mean, this basically shows it here. This is how much, Bitcoin are on exchanges, liquid, easy to grab, whether you're talking Binance, Coinbase, Kraken, a lot of those different places. So BTC price has registered a 45% surge in 2023, making it one of the best performing assets. Yeah, here you go. Here's an easy one to look
But
at.
Bitcoin's a scam, TJ.
Yeah.
Elizabeth
People are so
Warren.
stupid, right?
Speaking of stupid for a quick second, when we say that the United States is one of the largest holders of Bitcoin from the Mount Gox and the Silk Road seizes, do we know their addresses?
Yeah, some of the addresses are publicly known. Like I
Because I
know
would love to see if they're accumulating more.
No,
Or
well, they're
how
actually
much more.
they covered Friday. They actually sold a big chunk on Friday,
And it did nothing.
yeah, and it didn't really affect the price. They're talking about potentially selling, like they're holding about 41,500, I think is the approximate number that they recovered from, like you said, the person who was siphoning it from Silk Road. It was over $3 billion at the time they recovered. It's around $1 billion now, approximately. They've sold a few thousand Bitcoin, I think, on Friday, and they have plans to sell more. which is very interesting. You know, like they could very well quickly become, and I think we did have some articles on this, but yeah, they are one of the largest publicly known holders of Bitcoin at this time, which could set themselves up well.
And not Craig Wright.
Definitely not.
It's not Craig Wright.
It's not.
I'm sorry, Craig.
He was definitely there at the beginning. He was definitely involved. He definitely deserves a lot of credit, but he is
old Craig.
Yeah, old Craig. He's not Satoshi. He's just not.
He ain't drinking no Baileys from a shoe.
You can. What's that?
He ain't drinking no Baileys from a shoe.
No. Oh, God.
It's pretty bold, right? Like
to make that claim. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he knows.
If you think he was involved, and there's other people involved too that know he was involved. Like, don't you think they would call him out?
Well, I think he knows the only the true person who was number one is most likely deceased at this point. Other people involved don't want to share their identity either as being involved. And they also, I'm pretty sure, feel fairly confident he won't ever be able to move, because if he was, all he'd have to do is do a single transaction out of Satoshi's wallet, which he's never been able to do. And if he was able to do that, produce those private keys, I think people would think, okay, that's good enough proof.
Wait, can we look up that, was it Rug Gang that looked like the Federal Reserve's wallet address?
Yeah, if you can scroll back up. Yeah, you can pull that up, or somebody can. I can't.
I can't either. The controls are too far away.
Doge just ripped 15% in like 5 minutes. Did Elon tweet something interesting? That's always. Let me finish this up real quick, just so you guys can see. Here you can see this is where Signature Bank closed, and you can see an immediate rip in non-US exchanges and exchanges going up, and probably because they're having to acquire to get rid of these buy orders, and then just slowly fading off here. So. Just interesting to keep an eye on that. Why don't that close? So, liquidity crunch has also led to higher price volatility on U.S. exchanges, where the price discrepancy between BTC and U.S. dollar pairs has increased drastically compared with non-U.S. exchanges. For example, the price of Bitcoin on Binance US is more volatile than the average price across 10 other exchanges. That's interesting. Interesting. Yeah, Willie Woo!
Wow, that's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
I know. It brings me back to bull market vibes.
Not to be Obi-Wan over here.
Lower rates risk on BTC. Lower the rates, risk on Bitcoin moons. Higher rates, banks go insolvent. Bitcoin moons. Jerome Powell between a rock and a hard place. So yeah, it's basically everything is setting. This is kind of what BJ was saying at the top of the show. Everything is setting up extremely well for Bitcoin right now. There really is no, the macro environment, as scary as it is, it's kind of the perfect storm for where Bitcoin is going.
It's also the perfect reason for a shakeout too.
What do you mean?
Like when everyone's, I know a lot of us are bearish because we've seen how much has ripped, but also that perfect narrative for everything to go into Bitcoin where it's like, as we see everything falling, it's like, well, if we want to move towards Bitcoin on a sovereign nation and large capitalistic level, we should probably do one more Crashzilla.
Yeah, I can see that. I don't know.
I know it's hard. Like I'm buying nonetheless. I don't care.
Yeah, I'm buying either way as well. I see what you're saying there, though. One last push down, always kind of like that final capitulation everybody's always looking for.
But I still think our bottom has happened, so I wouldn't worry about that.
Yeah, I tend to agree. And I think you could push down to 20K again and shake out a few more people. But for the most part, I think most of the people that are out already. We do have 369 people watching right now on the YouTubes. If you guys don't mind, could stop what you're doing real quick, hit that like button, help us get that message out there, because this message isn't getting preached by mainstream, even though it's very logical. It's the clear solution to the problem at hand. BJ was talking about this at the beginning, that you don't hear this on mainstream media. You don't hear this on mainstream news. You've got currency wars going on, trade wars going on all over the world. The U.S. is starting to lose in different sectors. We've got a solution out there, a safe place for people to store their money, a safe place to store your value long term, a good non-state controlled decentralized global reserve currency that any nation could be using. If you're a nation that wants to climb the ladder, if you're a nation that wants to maintain the wealth that you've created, the solution is out there. We're just not pushing it because it's a direct counter to what's been out there previously in the old system. So if we want to see change happen, we need to be out there pushing that message, telling people about it, making videos about it, trying to, and doing it, actually taking action and doing it ourselves, buying Bitcoin, separating ourselves from the system and not just being status quo. So if you guys do that yourselves and you want to help do that, one thing you can do is hit that like button. It's the simplest possible way for you to get involved with the Bitcoin
In the
movement.
words of Palpatine, Do it.
Do it.
I have a question from Covert Fours. He said, dumb question. If the government wanted to effectively ban Bitcoin, why would they not just buy it all?
That's not a dumb question. That's a pretty legitimate question, and they're in a tough spot because they could never necessarily buy it all. What they would
But couldn't they?
Well,
You'd
I
have
mean,
to-
You just
they
keep,
really have
you
any
keep
money?
printing money and then
Right.
use that fake money that you're printing to buy it.
yes.
Like I had this argument with Mind Your Biz forever ago that it's like that's kind of my problem with Bitcoin in a way that you could just print money.
You
and do
could,
it.
yeah. Would you? The answer on all of it is: would you sell 100% of your Bitcoin?
Me personally?
Yeah, you personally.
No.
So that's why they couldn't buy all of it. Now they could.
Okay, yeah,
that's the
valid.
argument there. So what they would be doing is they'd be printing and buying as much as they possibly could get their hands on, which would be driving the price up dramatically, which creates this demand for other people to try to get their hands on it, driving the price up dramatically. Also,
When you
while
put it that way, it's actually kind of a good fail.
And they wouldn't
yeah,
be selling
also while
huge
killing the
chunks.
dollar at the same, so they'd be taking their number one weapon, the printer, and basically disassembling it right in front
Yeah,
of themselves.
yeah,
And that's what they are unwilling to do. Now, they're in a pretty similar situation right now with the rates and the banks and all that sort of stuff. So, but that they control.
Well,
that they can, pull these certain levers. They can tell NATO, hey, stop producing oil. Hey, raise the rates to here. Put this pressure there. Save this bank. Let that bank fail. That's the world that
Well,
they
if
know
they
how to play
destroy the
in.
printer, the movie True Lies showed that we sent over some printers over to the Middle East, so we'll be fine. We'll still have a printer over there.
It's so weird that the government put out the plan to sell more Bitcoin as they know that Asia is buying it, and Asia's like cut off their citizen allowance to purchase Bitcoin right at the top, and they opened it back up at the bottom, and now we're capitulating in the U.S. at the bottom and selling right into those hands. The whole thing, it smells of Bunter Hyden. I don't know, just
Bless you.
totally just rug pulling us as a whole, but. Yeah, that's
It
just
feels a little fishy. I agree.
I'm still trying to figure out what's going on in the chat and Twitter and Doge.
I was
but-
looking at it. I don't know. I saw some screenshots. Looks like there's like a Doge above the Twitter headline or like the Twitter logo when you go on to
okay.
just the profile.
Your
But
profile.
yeah, I wasn't seeing it on my mobile app yet, but that's what I've seen a couple
Interesting.
screenshots around, and looks like you might be floating a little Doge hello on the twits and.
Well, so and on that same point of just buy it all, here's another graph that shows the percentage of Bitcoin circulating
The real
supply
plan C.
has not moved in at least 2 years, or the supply that hasn't moved in 2 years has gone parabolic. So if you've held BTC for 2+ years and are not the government, you are most likely not interested in selling at these levels. So like here is.
That's a metric I care about.
Yeah, so this right here, this shows, obviously, this is 2022 crash, falling, but realistically, this right here shows how many people that were willing to sell actually got shaken out by that FTX stuff. But ever since that point, the amount of long-term holding 2 years plus has just been absolutely ripping. Now, a lot of these people will most likely be sellers in 24 and 25.
Mm-hmm.
These are a lot of the people you see on this show. But this is very bullish. This shows people basically accumulating anybody who bought anywhere back in here is decided they are holding on and not interested in selling at this time. So yeah, pretty interesting graph there. And so this was to that same question about if you were the US government, I wouldn't sell the rest of the Bitcoin. It's possibly the biggest opportunity to build a national strategic Bitcoin reserve. History has been kind to hodlers. Basically, okay, so they sold almost 10,000 of their 41,000 was what was sold Friday.
Yeah.
So if you are the U.S. government, we give the U.S. government a lot of flack here. BJ, let's game theory this a little bit.
Uh-oh.
You bet you've had the dominant global reserve currency for well over 100 years now. You used it for great economic gain and empowerment for your country, your citizens. It seems to be that is coming to an end at this point. You're starting to see people jump out of your currency, settle trade deals in other currencies. You've got some other superpowers coming up battling you at this point. You got banks failing, all this stuff going on that we talk about on the show all the time. Now you've also got ridiculous amounts of Bitcoin. Standard operations up until this point would be sell it all, put it all in dollars. That's always what we do. What is your play here if you're the U.S. government?
I feel like you almost answered it where it's like, what is going to be the next reserve? What is the next thing you can control? we'll talk about later with gold whether that's a debatable asset to be holding, whether we're the dominant holders of that or not. But if we're the dominant holders of Bitcoin, it almost seems foolish to ask that question because it's like, isn't that the obvious play?
I would agree.
Yeah, I'm really not sure, but it seems like a really strong, obvious play.
Hold the Bitcoin.
Yeah,
I got an idea.
All right.
but there's a reason why you're selling it if the obvious play is to hold it. So that's why I think that crash is coming.
Yeah,
But
interesting.
that still doesn't make sense. I don't know. I'm out.
Outside of that arbitrage monetarily, what you could do is start some insurrections with the CIA in South Chinese provinces. So start some insurrections and basically.
You act like there's a track record of that.
I do, and so basically all you have to do is
Allegedly.
start, or
Allegedly.
watch some propaganda uprisings happen in provinces that are south of China and
Look,
destabilize their military, spread them out
It's just
thin.
the movement of democracy, okay?
Listen, we're going to spread democracy across the south of China. They're going to get a little distracted. Then they're going to try to
Not the
move
only
on
infection
Taiwan.
we like to spread.
They'll be, oh my God. They'll be too spread out to have to deal with or grab Taiwan like they want to. And then all of a sudden, the USS Reagan has control of South China Sea and monetary trade has to continue in the US dollar. Just a thought.
Just a thought. So keep an eye on that.
I'd hit the truth button, but it's too far away.
Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah, I don't have it pre-programmed.
The truth.
I should. Oh, I'm a monster.
I mean, all it is proxy involvement. That's all this is. Like, this is the same way that Rome handled things, but without technology. You just handle provinces with proxy, whatever they want to fight about. You let them expand upon that, put money into it, and then they're so spread out and consumed with those small fires that they forget about the big one, which is semiconductor production. So,
My question is, do you think the United States... Oh, I almost spilled my own lunch.
Oh,
do you
man.
think the United States government still thinks they can beat Bitcoin? Like, that
No.
they can handle it?
no,
If they thought so, they wouldn't be. If they thought they could beat it, they wouldn't be showing it attention. They wouldn't be talking about it. They
Right.
wouldn't be
Yeah.
trying to regulate it or not regulate it or leave us in this fiscal purgatory. Like,
No, they seem worried.
yeah.
No, I think they're worried. But so you agree, Drew?
Yeah, I don't think it's at the point where it's always been in the back of my mind that maybe they are the ones that actually built it to be able to move into Bretton Woods 2.0 with after they handle this third world incursion that's happened. But I don't feel like governments are at the point where they think that this is a controllable cat in the field. I think they know that it's snorted a bunch of coke and there's no wrangle in it. So basically what they have to do is just push it into a corner that they control to the best of their abilities. But I think that the idea and the sovereignty of Bitcoin kind of plays against the thought in my mind that they might have actually originated the creation of it, because in any creation by a large government, I think that the control factor is the number one thing that they look for, and doing away with our privacy. And Bitcoin offers a pretty good layer of both of those. So at this point, I think that they're just going to try to leverage it as a tool to move into to make their dollar more sound, 10 years from now after the dust settles with everything in the macro happening.
God. Okay,
Everyone's all
hold
sad.
up.
What?
So here
Wait a minute.
it is. So
Oh.
you capitulate Bitcoin, you continue pushing the Restrict Act,
Mm.
and then we can't buy it.
Yeah.
Mm.
See, that's kind of where I was going. I think I think they still feel like they can beat this thing. I think they think
They're going to try.
They can regulate it into the ground. That's why they're still pushing CBDCs. I think they know they've got the media megaphone and they can just blast. Like, if you listen to what the BitBoy Reacts from this morning on the live stream, Elizabeth Warren talking about Bitcoin bad, CBDC good, using the exact same talking points. The talking points she was using for why Bitcoin was bad are actually what makes it good. And the things she used for why CBDCs are good are actually what makes it bad, which was basically government control, state back. Like, oh, this isn't backed by the government. This is bad. This other thing over here could exist. If it's backed by the government, it could be great and good and really helpful. And I think they feel like they can just outlaw the stuff that they know gives people power and prop up things that they know give them power. And over time, they'll just win that battle. So I feel like they still haven't come to that acceptance stage. I think they're in the fight it stage. They're in the anger and denial stage that we think we can put this cat, like to BJ's or somebody just said, put it in a corner and let it. A few people might be able to use it and run
Nobody
it.
puts Bitcoin in a corner.
That's right. Nobody can put Bitcoin in a corner. But real quick, we will come and look at this because we got We got Doge doing. Oh, I lost it. No, you're good. Where'd I put it? Trading View. Here it is, all the way over here. All right, boom. Now, how's that for a candle for you?
Hold on, what timeline are you on?
That's 15 minutes. I was just doing it to make it fun. I mean, if we go 5 minutes, it gets real crazy. But I mean, you can. Coin market cap just didn't do it justice. But yeah, 15% in the last hour. There's a boinger on Dogecoin for you.
Damn, woke up and chose violence today, boy.
Yeah, there you go. There's the week here. Pull me down real quick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There's the weekly there on Dogecoin, and it's just ticking right along. Let's see it. Let's see how high. It's almost.
So are we gonna ever see all-time high again on Dogecoin given its inflation rate?
That's what I was actually just about to say. Because
all-time high again.
It's 5 million tokens a day.
It's a lot per day.
Yeah, it's millions per day. Just ticked up again. This is fun when this happens. This usually front runs other altcoins moving pretty well.
Isn't this how the bull run last time started?
Usually does, but now I don't get too excited. This is not the bull run.
When I saw Tate out of jail, I thought that was the initiation.
I just need to refresh. I see is what they're saying. That's all right. There's nothing.
Oh, we saw the shaman
here we go.
release.
So basically, here it is on Twitter. You can they see? Yeah, you can. Yeah. The Dogecoin dog is up here on.
There it is.
Oh God, he is about to absolutely exit liquidity.
Oh, here we go. Here's Blockchain Basement. Everybody go follow Blockchain Basement. There you go. So what is Elon doing, man? He's just looking. Look, advertisers weren't paying. Elon needs, Daddy Elon needs to pump Doge a little bit so we can keep Twitter going, so we can all post our memes.
They're going to exit liquidity crap out of people.
Yeah. All right. So here's my here's TJ's Twitter. Bull market if Doge doubles off this. Garbage market if Doge fizzles out at 0.11. 0 if Doge doesn't even hit 11. All right. Well, there you go. So now you got our targets. We're looking for 0.11. Where'd it go?
I actually want to look at the sell walls on all of that.
There's some pretty bullish news this weekend, man. I don't know. I was feeling like
we've gotten up to basically 0.98 almost.
What was that, a 40% rip from where it was to get up to 11?
Yeah, we were at 30%.
Pretty good.
Oh no, I know another coin that's been doing 40% rips each day, but
what's that? Tell us about it, BJ.
Oh, I'm good.
What is it?
I'm good.
Yeah, it's not a coin, maybe. I don't know.
Keeping it
Didn't we talk about it on Friday or something?
My precious.
We already talked about it in the basement. You're gonna have to rewatch Thursday and Friday to find it. Though.
If I was the U.S. government, I would be holding on to as much Bitcoin as I could, pretty much trying to control it, kind of because I do feel like, because people ask, this came up on the morning stream, like why wouldn't the U.S. government control Bitcoin price like they do gold and silver? And I do think that will tend to happen at some point. It will take time, and where that price equilibrium will be at a much higher point. So that's why it's good to be in it now. As they do slowly start to accumulate it all, which it will happen through the printing mechanism, through exactly what you're talking about. They just won't do it all at once because it will break. They're trying to maintain all markets is what you realize what's happening. They don't want the oil market and the wheat market and the silver and the palladium, all these different markets to break all at once, because all the money in the world rushes to one asset, because that's, that wouldn't work. We need all of these markets to maintain and operate. So they're going to slowly pull different levers and triggers on all these different markets to slowly accumulate more Bitcoin than everybody else, more Bitcoin than everyone else. And then again, we're okay with the price going up because we have more than everybody else. But eventually, I do think it starts to turn into a gold type silver, which is why there's only so many more bull runs we have left, in my opinion. Once too many nation states are involved with this, then it will start to find a balance. Now, the question is, does it balance around 500,000 of Bitcoin? Does it balance around 1 million Bitcoin? That's where a lot of other people have, different forms and thoughts and opinions on economies and all that sort of stuff. But at some point it will start to stabilize. And at that point, it becomes a much better actual currency than store of value. If, something like Lightning Network has been established at that point, they can get fees down.
Speaking of store of value, just because I thought of this, I highly doubt I am not probably the only person in this room that this is relevant to. But if you use Bittrex, you have till the end of this month as a U.S. citizen to get all of your assets off. They will no longer be using U.S. citizens.
Ooh, that's happening.
Which is sad because that was the OG exchange that I used.
Doesn't sound like land of the free.
No.
Well, I mean, they're not based in the United States.
Well, why can't we
use
it?
No, but us free people in the United States aren't allowed to use it.
No, we're free. It's the land of the free and dumb. Right?
Yeah.
Like, if the government says I shouldn't do it, there's probably a reason why. They care about me.
They want the best.
They care about me. Daddy Gary cares.
Abdoer said, can you take opinion what is going on with Binance? I can't withdraw my money from Binance.
I guess question one is Binance or Binance US?
US
That's
or
question
.com?
number one.
Yeah.
Are you an American citizen? Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of questions.
Yeah, let us know. I mean, let us know if you have the answer. If it's Binance.com versus Binance US, let us know. I do know there's a lot going. If you are a US citizen and you were on Binance.com, that probably has a lot to do with the case that's going on right now.
God, you shit, Lord.
Crypto Stevo says, you're right. Not enough people are talking about Injective. Great project, part of the Cosmos ecosystem. Yeah, I like Injective Protocol. It is part of it. It had a big pump today, too.
BTC just said something that I think is very relevant because I've had this argument with a lot of people the last few weeks.
You got ran out of town over this.
When people would say stuff like that, and I was like, do you know anything about the Restrict Act? Do you know anything about fractional reserve banking? Do you know this? No, but they, them. It's like,
you got ran out of the building
Let's
for
not
not
go
having
there.
one.
we're not. Like,
Yeah, let's not go there.
I like inclusion, but we have other priorities. We
Hammer
just
Bro
did.
says he's short INJ. Yeah, INJ did have a big pump today, so I imagine if you went, you probably shorted that pump, which makes sense.
Is that Injective?
Yeah, Injective
Because
Protocol.
someone else, Crypto Cody, said bought Injective in November around $1.60. It's
Gary
been a
Gessler,
steady
okay.
pumper, even when other alts were bleeding. Why aren't more people talking about it? Am I missing something?
No, it's just it's a niche of a niche. You know, it's within the Cosmos ecosystem. So if you don't know, if you're not into Cosmos, you don't know as much about Injective really. But yeah, it was Coin Bureau's pick of 2021. It didn't really do much in 21. Obviously, 2022, nothing really did a lot. But I do think like they could have just been a little early on that. Could be a really good pick for 24. So
I have another question from Big Hands Dan. Where do you see real world assets token market in the next 5 years?
Good question. Real world assets, meaning stocks, commodities, all sorts of other market. Like I was talking about all these other markets that exist right now. Basically, when do we start?
Trill?
When do we start to see those markets move over to tokenized, blockchain based markets? And then he said, in the next 5. When do we see it happening in the next 5 years?
Where do you see
where do I
it
see
in
it?
the next 5 years?
I see it still in its infancy in the next 5 years. It's going to take a long time. A lot of these markets have been around a very long time, updating technology. I mean, a lot of them still operate on dated technology as it is. Yes, it will happen. Blockchain, supply
Does it
chain.
happen with art first? And what I mean by that is there's those websites where you can buy fractions of famous pieces of art. Do they tokenize? Like that's pseudo tokenization.
Yeah,
Is that like the first one to truly do it?
I
though?
think we do start to see stocks and some of those things do it. Things that are already mostly digital as they exist right now. It wouldn't be too hard to move that over into a more open, decentralized ledger. So you're just talking about changing ledgers. I could see that happening. The regulation around it is what's going to slow it down, in my opinion. And then supply chain based like goods, foods, commodities, that sort of stuff. I could see happening pretty quickly. I still think 5 years, though, is pretty optimistic on that timeline. I think it's going to be more like 10 years before we start to make any real progress with it. I think we could get to the point where it's really seriously being talked about 5 years from now. Maybe let another bull market happen. Generally seems like most of the real moving things forward progress happens in bull markets. And then a lot of the hype and excitement and prices and money flows in the bull markets and all these new people with all these new ideas. But when we're talking about things that actually get things done and take a really big step, things like what's going on with Ethereum right now, things like what's going on with different DeFi and decentralized exchanges, a lot of that stuff, the technology, with zero knowledge, some of those proofs, some of that kind of stuff all happens when there's not a lot of hype going on and then big new money and speculation rushes in. So I think say we get a lot of big money and speculation that comes in, we do start to see nation states, we do start to see major institutional money get involved in 24, 25, maybe by 26, 27, we start to see a lot of conversation, regulation conversation around tokenizing other assets because it does build once you have stablecoin regulation, then you've got, okay, this is how we handle these type of digital currencies and securities. Okay, now we know what a security is. Great, let's move this actual stock token, security over to this type of issuance. Yeah. And I do think we'll see that. My opinion, 5 years, very, very slow. 10 years, a lot more.
What's your cutoff?
2:15. I got about 5 minutes. So we'll save a lot of these tabs.
Stop derailing you.
No, it's good. We'll save a lot of these tabs for tomorrow. But I mean, I like the questions from the chat too. What do you guys think? I mean, Drew, you said more longer timeline.
No, I mean, I think 2030, it's all about what Larry Fink wants to do. That's literally what it comes down to. Fink and BlackRock, they said they're looking at tokenization of those assets, to be it's started, but it's just as he said, they have to do the stablecoin infrastructure first. So, I think that we're going to hear Fink get real serious about it in the next bull run, kind of showing the use cases for it. And then they're going to.
We are.
I think that we'll be looking at a regulatory framework for it done by 2030, and then from there probably take them like five, maybe 10 years. It's a lot of money that's got to be organized. So
it is.
Be patient. Wind moon. Someday.
Speaking of 2030, I know this is like a really weird tangent, and I'm not going to be able to truly pronounce this or explain this correctly, but I believe it was either 2030 or 2035 that the European Union decided that you could not sell a new internal combustion engine. The law actually just changed because there's a process of hydrolysis and a bunch of other stuff to make synthetic ethanol that they are actually going to allow. So the death of the internal combustion engine may not be here. Look into it more. I actually need to look into it more.
I didn't know governments needed to give me permission to allow me to exist and do things.
I hate when the government comes in and tells us how we can build stuff.
I forgot giving them that right.
Yeah,
I totally forgot.
We didn't give them. Well, yeah, we didn't give them that right. They took it. And they told us we voted for it, but
they didn't take nothing. I'm burning things in my backyard. I'm cutting trees down. I'm chasing chickens all over.
You didn't get a permit to cut down that tree, Drew?
Absolutely not. And they try to say it's illegal in my county. We all have burn pits.
You just said that live on the Twitch. Please gonna get you.
Yeah, whatever. They don't have a bandwidth. Good luck.
2030 Campbell's soup will be the new currency.
Sad.
Yeah, it's a scary reality. Again, watching shows like this and then going and watching things like The Walking Dead or Last of Us, not a good combination because your brain really like, oh my gosh, this can happen. Like,
tune in for me.
Yeah, and then you get your late night The Druth at 11:30, and then you have nightmares about killing your neighbors in your sleep or whatever.
I will eat your ass.
All right, you set me up for this one pretty good. We're talking about BlackRock. It really is their world. We're just living in it, I guess. Lark Davis with the tweet. Both BlackRock and Fidelity are offering Bitcoin to their clients. This does get slept on, I feel like, a lot by a lot of mainstream people, even traditional market people. I don't understand why this seems to be lost on them. A lot of people that are flooding Bitcoin have nice things to say about Fidelity, and Fidelity has been in Bitcoin for quite some time. So between them, they have 15 trillion in assets under management. Just 0.3% of that money would buy every single Bitcoin currently on exchanges. So I was talking about that supply squeeze that's happening. Basically, everyday retail people are accumulating a lot of the Bitcoin, and big entities like BlackRock and Fidelity. But we're seeing there's not enough Bitcoin to go around, which is why the prices are going up. So,
wait, are you saying having an asset with a fixed supply?
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's in demand. It's weird.
It in demand, supply and demand. It's almost like supply and demand is what makes economics and the world go round.
Are you sure?
I know.
I'm not sure. I'm not an economist. I'm just.
I'm only going to trust our economists.
I'm just here. I'm just down in the basement wearing glasses, trying to be smart, buying Bitcoin.
I had to wear these because I had a massage right before this, and I didn't want to look so.
Most importantly, what's in the lunchbox?
I just did it because everyone else was doing it.
Yeah. I just did it because Joel threw these glasses at me. So
someone said TJ Harry Potter, BJ Severus Snape.
Here, Joel, or not Joel, whoever you are.
What is that?
I mean, you never know when you
Why
need
do you have a headlamp.
You never know when you need to have a headlamp.
What else is
in his lunchbox?
Playing cards, a banana.
Of course.
I already ate my eggs, a protein bar.
Look at BJ go.
And an 18650.
Wow.
Having a good day.
BJ out here living his best
Prepped
life.
and ready. Prepper BJ.
Prepper BJ in the NES lunchbox, which is actually pretty freaking cool. Hold that up for everybody. Or they can see it, I guess. Yeah, there you go. BJ, the lunchbox he could never get in middle school, he finally achieved as an adult.
Yep. Hell yeah.
Still hasn't helped him get any friends.
It hasn't.
Sad times. But that's why we love BJ here. He doesn't need friends. He has family. So. All right, that's all we have time for today. We really love all of you guys. We'll be back with some more stuff tomorrow. I have about 20 other tabs open here, so
let's just leave them up.
We'll leave them up for tomorrow. We'll get into all this. I don't even remember what half of this is. I know some of it. Oh, we didn't even talk about the Arbitrum drama, which I was wanting to talk about today.
Yes, we'll have to dig into that.
Yeah. TLDR Arbitrum gave away free money, but no governance. No, they were.
That sounds like the government.
They were alleging you had governance votes in this. When the vote, they assumed they knew which way the vote was going to go. They started allocating tokens for these grants that the community then voted that they wouldn't have permission to do. But then they already spent some of that money. So, like, how do you unwind that? But if you guys are new here, a lot of things that are decentralized aren't quite as decentralized
Ethereum.
aren't
Sorry, I
governed
had a
nearly
horrible
as
cough.
decentralized as they would like you to believe. Like many, that's my joke about most DAOs out there. Most DAOs are just 10 guys in a Discord. But that's my 2 cents there. So
we'll get into it. We'll cover it more tomorrow.
yeah, we'll get into that more tomorrow. Like I said, we love all of you guys. Not sure if there's anybody to raid today, but Miami Alpha, Big Hands Dan, Bubba's Crypto, Radio Face, Urkelson, Corvette, Casino Doggy,
Should we high five with our feet?
Dodd Slave.
Yeah.
No. Oh, you guys, sure.
Hell yeah.
John, Danny Carney, Shrimpy Scapegoat, B&H Baker, Gary's Guzzler, Shirley Sound, Crypto Steve, Na, Crypto Cody, Hope E, John, Bailey Miller, Crypto Daddy, or Crypt Daddy, Raul, San Miguel. We love all you guys. BTC Poppy. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Same time, same place. Stay safe out there.
Hey,
Try to
T-
get out of the basement.
TJ, what does this button do?